Star vs. the Forces of Evil belongs to Daron Necfy, Disney Channel, and all other people associated with its creation. Please go support Star vs. the Forces of Evil and buy the Magic Book of Spells. Hello everybody, it's Raspberry Barrel, and today we'll be reading the fourth chapter in the Star vs. the Forces of Evil Magic Book of Spells. Today's chapter, Solaria the Monster Carver. And as of the time I'm recording this, the episodes about Solaria just came out. In this chapter, you're going to learn so much more about Solaria and just how crazy she was. She might have not looked super crazy in our latest episodes, but she did have a very genocidal way of living. And this chapter gets really dark and intense. So if you can't handle things like death, maybe don't read and listen to this. I'll try to give you a warning to when we get to the really dark parts, but hopefully you'll just make do. Solaria the Monster Carver. A castle stormed is a hero born, with might as strong as steel. Kneel the void before her and the crushing force she wields. The Wand of Aggression. This wand has seen me through many battles. It is as if it were an extension of my own arms. Note 1. The eternal fire. The flame that gives breath to the causticizing power of my wand. Note 2. Lightning bolt. The electrical charge that unifies the aggression in my head and cheek emblems. That aggression inside the wand. Note 3. The mill horse. Bartholomew the Brave. The finest mill horse any queen could ask for. He has served me bravely for years, and my love for him is unconditional, loyalty above all else. The Great Monster War, Volume 1, The Assembling Tempest. Book 1, From Monster to Monster, War 690 through War 705. Chapter and page. Chapter 1, The Foolishness of the Queens, page 1. Chapter 2, Creeping Evil, page 4. Chapter 3, A New Magical Army, page 5. Book 2, The Attack on the Cloud Kingdom, War 705 through War 713. Chapter 4, The Takeover of the Cloud Kingdom, page 8. Chapter 5, The Assault on the Butterfly Castle, page 9. Chapter 6, The Magical High Commission, The Hekapoo Assignment, page 13. Book 3, Muni Regained, War 713 through War 719. Chapter 7, Operation Wandlight, page 14. Chapter 8, The Wand is Not Aglow, page 15. Appendix 1, Miscellaneous. A. Letter from the Secretary of the Monster Peace Council, 3. B. BEAR, Brute Eager Attack Roar, page 6. C. BOAR, Blunt Offense Arrest Retort, page 6. D. RAPTOR, Rage Aggression Panic Torpor Olfactory Response, page 7. E. Monster Annihilation Techniques, page 11. And F. CPS Crystal Pulverization Spell, page 12. Maps and diagrams. Diagram of the Wand of Aggression and picture of Bartholomew the Brave, pages 1 and 11. War Map of Muni, page 2. And Hekapoo's Diagram of Diplomacy, page 14. Chapter 1, The Foolishness of the Queens. As the years passed and the humans became a great and powerful force in the lands of Muni, the monsters grew jealous of us, bearing our further settling of the country. They blocked us from founding new villages in parts of the land where before only monsters dared to tread, while at the same time demanding that we treat them with more respect. A true dichotomy. Why should we respect a culture that does not respect our own? It is the rightful duty of each of the queens of Muni to expand our reach and give our subjects a better way of life, regardless of whether or not the monsters see this as an intrusion into what is rightly theirs, and it has been, until my reign, the Queen's folly to not afford the monster's threat the dire seriousness it deserves. The queens before me have been too lax, have let the monsters get away with too much, but I, Solaria, will not allow that to be the case during my reign. The monsters will come under my thumb, and, like it or not, they will be wiped from the face of the land. A note from Star. I tried giving myself this haircut when I was feeling unqueenly. Solaria got away with it, but I don't think it's really for me. Solaria's card. Solaria the Monster Carver. 5 butterfly power. A Rolly sign, Lion Dragon. Height, 6'3", the tallest queen. Cheek emblem, lightning bolt. Attributes. Strength, 20. Intelligence, 13. Wisdom, 13. Cold determination, 18. Constitution, 20. And charisma, 13. A map of the monster stronghold. Forest of unlikely spider bites. Increased enemy movement. Water folk to reinforce. Construct lookout. Send people to the Cloud Kingdom. Special caves. Forest of certain death. Letters from the Secretary of the Monster Peace Council. Queen Solaria, all efforts to peaceably partly with the monsters have failed, and now they will no longer allow us safe passage back through the forest of certain death. As of this writing, the monsters were unwilling to meet our demands, and therefore we are unable to entertain theirs. It is with a sad and hardened heart that I must inform you that war with the monsters looks inevitable. Do with this information what you will, but know that your subjects are loyal men and women, such as myself, who are willing to die for their queen. We will try to return to our queen's side, but the journey is long and dangerous, since we cannot venture safely back the way we came. I do fear that this message may never reach your eyes, and so I have sent 3 of my fastest Raven Scouts with the same message, in hopes that one of them will find a way to breach the monster's ranks and reach the Butterfly Castle. In eternal order lines, Alphonse the Worthy, Secretary of the Monster Peace Council. Chapter 2. Creeping Evil. I believe that the monsters are jealous of our accomplishments, and that they must want our magic and power for themselves. They have raided our outlying settlements, the ones farthest from Butterfly Castle, and many human lives and homes have been lost. We cannot stand by and allow this to happen. We must gather our strength and create an army that is unparalleled in all Muni's history. I pity the monsters. They have no inkling of the sleeping dragon they have just awoken. I and my trusted counselors will convene the Monster War Council, an entity that has not been called to order in a century, and then they will be very sorry indeed. The Monster War Council has been called into session this morning. 2 of my most trusted counselors, Hekapoo and Alphonse the Worthy, spoke first. They urged the other members of the council to vote for war with the monsters. Alphonse spoke eloquently, sharing his horrific experiences on the peace mission he headed to, into the forest of certain death, where all 20 members of the party either lost their minds or their lives. After his harrowing tale, a vote was called, and the response was unanimous. We are going to war with the monsters. Chapter 3. A New Magical Army. War is dark business, darker than any of us realize. Our soldiers are not equipped to handle the onslaught from so many sides. It seems that wherever we look, there is a new evil rising up to attack us. We are outnumbered and underpowered. If we do not want to lose what we have, we must find a new way to fight. We need a new kind of warrior, one who can match the monsters in strength and cunning. Until now, the Magical High Commission has been working on this problem, but recently I have discovered through careful research that a combination of 3 old spells once known to the queens, but that disappeared when the Butterfly Castle burned down and the previous book was destroyed during my mother's reign, might be the key. I have pored through hundreds of magical tombs, and I believe I have found many pieces of these spells scattered inside first-hand accounts written in the 12 other books. These accounts are told by humans who saw these spells used before by the old queens. Once the 3 spells have been fully reconstituted, we will be able to create a superpowered magical army, one that will be the basis for our new fighting force, and one that I know will be equaled in the annals of history. To this end, I have removed myself from the battlefield, which is my true place as leader, and now I spend hours locked away in a lonely tower at Butterfly Castle, developing these new old spells. We will start testing the first of these spells, BEAR, on our willing peasant volunteer army beginning tomorrow morning. I hope through practice to learn how to weave all 3 spells together into a triptych spell, which will create our supercharged army. A note from Glossric. I was MIA for all of this. I don't dabble in politics. The Solarian Metamorphosis, a triptych of the 3 spells. BEAR, Brute Eager Attack Roar. For brute strength and eagerness to attack without the bindings of fear. 2 growls, 3 slashes of a wand, 1 second finger prick on sharpened wand blade. For spell permanence, drink 3 drops of honeysuckle nectar after completing the spell, and no longer will you feel the fear in battle. BOAR, Blunt Offense Arrest Retort. For blunting of conscience in the battle, 1 howl, 2 swirls of the wand, 1 thumb prick on sharpened wand blade. For spell permanence, drink 3 drops of lizard blood after completing the spell, and no longer will you have a conscience in battle. Raptor, Rage, Aggression, Panic, Torpor, Olfactory Response. For enhancement of all senses in battle, 2 hawk screams, 2 japs of the wand, 1 big toe prick on sharpened wand blade. For spell permanence, drink 3 drops of pigeon blood after completing the spell, and your senses will soar in battle. Once a peasant volunteer has gone through all 3 phases of the Solarian Metamorphosis spell, they are endowed with the weapon harnessing the eternal flame of my own wand of aggression. The mark of this blade is terminal, particularly for monsters. Mina Loveberry was the first peasant to volunteer her body for magical experimentation, and she will forever and always be my most trusted Solarian. May she live as long as fate allows. Chapter 4. The Takeover of the Cloud Kingdom. Today we had both good news and bad news. The Solarian warrior army has taken back a wide swath of the land from the monsters, but while our backs were turned, the monsters descended on our allies, the Ponyheads. Cloud Kingdom has been overrun with monsters. My Solarian warriors, strange to think these men and women were once cowering peasants before my magic was worked upon them, are brave and unstoppable. Late last night I led them into combat against the dreaded monster horde, and together with the Ponyhead resistance we waged a bloody battle that ended with the monster retreat. Tonight we celebrate by burning the bodies of the monsters dead on a giant tree, and dancing with wild abandon until the sun rises over the charred embers, eating and drinking our fill until we fall into unconsciousness. Chapter 5. The Assault of the Butterfly Castle. The monsters will not break through our defenses. They will never set foot in Butterfly Castle, unless it's over my dead body. A tragedy was only barely averted today. My young daughter, Eclipsa, was almost kidnapped by a monster. She is the light of my life, the apple of my eye, and as it is only the 2 of us, I have neither time nor interest in taking a king To lose her would be the end of me. She is an intelligent child, and she loves to disappear into the secret recesses of the castle. We often lose her for hours at a time, but always she returns to her room for dinner. This day, no one, not even myself, could find her. I feel responsible for this because she begged to go with me this morning to parley with the leader of the monster horde, a strange size shifter who can barely slobber its own name, and I did not deem it safe for her to attend. Despite my orders, this mere babe, I may reiterate again how intelligent she is, snuck out of the magic barrier in order to find me. Instead of her mother's arms, my daughter found herself in the clutches of an evil monster hell-bent on her destruction. Had we not ended the parley early, without success, the monster horde is irredeemable. I would never have come across the kidnapping in progress, and I would have lost my darling forever. To my utter shame, I was too overwhelmed with shock to end the horrid monster's life, and it escaped. Poor Eclipser was beside herself from her near escape from death, and spent all the rest of the day in tears. Monster annihilation techniques. This part gets pretty dark, so if you want to not hear anything darker than what you've already heard, skip a couple minutes. Lizard men. Not sure what to do with these ones. Best just explode them and spread the pieces as far apart as possible. They are happier this way. Slime men. Do not touch these slippery beasts. A spell worked from far away is advised. Possibly something that burns them to a crisp or sends them to another dimension. They are so much happier this way. The Kappa. A cowardly, mean-spirited sort. A simple disembodiment spell will make them rue the day they were brought into this world. I promise that they're happier this way. Frogmen. These creatures deserve no mercy. To end their miserable existence, you must mince them into tiny pieces. Believe me when I say that they're happier this way. The Conjoinigans. These creatures, too, deserve no mercy. They are an abomination to even after. To end their miserable existence, you must flambe them with your sword wand. They are most definitely happier this way. CPS, Crystal Pulverization Spell. The Crystal Pulverization Spell is a favorite of mine. It works on all crystals, especially the crystals Romulus shoots from his head and snake hands in order to trap evildoers. This spell is very helpful when Romulus accidentally crystallizes a human in the heat of battle. 1 cockerel crow, 1 switch of wand, 1 right earlobe prick on sharpened wand blade. Repeat backward. 1 left earlobe prick on sharpened wand blade, 1 wand swish, 1 cockerel crow. Guaranteed to pulverize any and all crystals you may encounter while on your journey. Chapter 6, The Magical High Commission, the Hekapoo Assignment. We are all still under assault from the monster horde. The days are long and exhausting. Those of us trapped inside the castle await the arrival of the Solarian warrior army, which is forthcoming. But more monsters arrive at the siege. Each day it has become apparent that we need help from both the Lusitors and the Ponyheads. An alliance must be reached, or Butterfly Castle may fall. I have asked Hekapoo to assemble a diplomatic team to go and ask for their help. My strangely fabulous math genius older brother Justin, who ruled, if only for a short time, before me, has volunteered to be our royal envoy. Hekapoo, Justin, and Alphonse the Worthy will use dimensional scissors to secretly leave the castle. I have absolute faith in their abilities. Hekapoo's diagram of diplomacy. Chapter 7, Operation Wand Light. After a decade of fierce and bloody battle, the success of Hekapoo's diplomatic mission has brought Butterfly Castle back from the brink. Warriors from the underworld and Cloud Kingdom joined with our Solarian warrior army and sent the monsters into a full-scale retreat, but only to the forest of certain death. In the Magical High Commission has drafted a resolution that calls for a ceasefire with the monsters, but I am against it. Monsters are lesser than humans and should not be afforded the same respect that we accord the Ponyheads and Lusitors of the underworld. I believe a ceasefire would only encourage the monsters. To my mind, annihilation is the only true course left to us. I am creating a spell that will turn my wand into a weapon of mass destruction called the Total Annihilation Spell. Chapter 8. The Wand is Not Aglow. Over the last few years, there has been a significant drop in monster battles to be fought, and though I am still the general in charge of the Solarian warrior army, my talents are less needed. Also, I have failed as a magic wielder. I have kept my attempts at the Total Annihilation spell a secret, because all my attempts have been failures. I don't even feel comfortable commenting the spell to this book. Perhaps I'll find a way to leave it for little Eclipsa, so that it's away from Glosric's all-seeing eyes. Glosric, if you're reading this now, know that I am mad at you. Glosric will not help me because he is all political. I truly believe he is mad at me for spurring the monster ceasefire and, instead, keeping my Solarians at war with the monsters. He does not understand. The monsters will forever come after us. They will never stop until they control all of our lands, and they've turned us into slaves. Only I have had the foresight to see the future. Only I know that bloodshed is the answer. But sadly, this is where my chapter ends. My dear Eclipsa will now be the owner of the book and wand. Here is a drawing she did as a child, one I kept near to my heart in battle. It was my talisman, and it kept me safe through all my adventures. Drawing by Eclipsa, age 7. I love you, Mom. And that was the end of the chapter, Solaria, the Monster Carver. Her chapter was so crazy and genocidal, and you just gotta think about how this is racism. Like, the monsters and the symbolism, and it's just, she was crazy and mad and genocidal. So many crazy things. Some of the important things were Alphonse the Worthy, who the first time we saw him was in the episode Blood Moon Ball, where he is actually a painting in Star's room, and he says, "It's a blood moon tonight, the moon of lovers," and then Marco goes to get Star from the ball. The second time we see him is when Eclipsa is sharing her secret of the secret passages, and he is the captain. She says, "Oh, Captain, can I come aboard and use the tunnels?" And then the tunnels open, and he blinks and says, "Yep." I guess it's a wink. And then in one of the more recent episodes, Star was going to go on a trip with Tom, and the book that she was looking at to try to decide where they would go on their little vacation was a book by Alphonse the Worthy. And then later, I'm pretty sure in Eclipse's chapter, the next one, we're going to learn that Alphonse the Worthy is actually Eclipse's father. And he did not marry Solaria, and he did not become king, but Solaria needed an heir, and so he volunteered basically to be the father. Well, to have child with Solaria, yeah. And then, of course, we learn more about Mina Loveberry, and we got that backstory in our more recent episode, but in this chapter, we learn that these specific spells that were put on Mina, they actually made her so she cannot have mercy on a person. She does not have a conscience when she's in battle doing this. Even when she's not all, monster demoned up, she still can't think. And Solaria said, I wish Mina to live as long as fate allows. And it seems she did. She is basically immortal. And because she was the first Solarian to be made, she is the test subject. The spells were not perfect. So, yes, she was the first, and these crazy spells made her crazy, and they couldn't think. And you just gotta think of these poor monsters. And in this most recent episode, Buffrog said it's his turn to fight a Solarian warrior. And Marco's like, "What happened to all your family?" And Buffrog's all like, they all died. And it's like, they didn't just die, they got minced. It's very dark, but her chapter is very interesting. There are some things that are hard to read, but I'm pretty sure I read it. So, I really hope you enjoyed as much as you could this chapter and what we learned about the crazy sword, and hopefully, all the monsters will be okay with her terminal evil sword of aggression. Once again, Star vs. the Forces of Evil belongs to Daron Necfy, Disney Channel, and all other people associated with its creation. Please support Star vs. the Forces of Evil and go buy the Magical Book of Spells. Thank you, everyone. Solaria, the Monster Carver. A castle stormed is a hero born, with might as strong as steel. Kneel the void before her, and the crushing force she wields. The Wand of Aggression. This wand has seen me through many battles. It is as if it were an extension of my own arms. Note 1. The Eternal Fire. The flame that gives breath to the cautizing power of my wand. Note 2. Lightning Bolt. The electrical charge that unifies the aggression in my head and cheek emblems, that aggression inside the wand. Note 3. The Mill Horse. Bartholomew the Brave, the finest mill horse any queen could ask for. He has served me bravely for years, and my love for him is unconditional, loyalty above all else. The Great Monster War. Volume 1. The Assembling Tempest. Book 1. From Monster to Monster. War 690 through War 705. Chapter and page. Chapter 1. The Foolishness of the Queens. Page 1. Chapter 2. Creeping Evil. Page 4. Chapter 3. A New Magical Army. Page 5. Book 2. The Attack on the Cloud Kingdom. War 705 through War 713. Chapter 4. The Takeover of the Cloud Kingdom. Page 8. Chapter 5. The Assault on the Butterfly Castle. Page 9. Chapter 6. The Magical High Commission. The Hekapoo Assignment. Page 13. Book 3. Muni Regained. War 713 through War 719. Chapter 7. Operation Wandlight. Page 14. Chapter 8. The Wand is Not Aglow. Page 15. Appendix 1. Miscellaneous. A. Letter from the Secretary of the Monster Peace Council. 3. B. BEAR. Brute Eager Attack Roar. Page 6. C. BOAR. Blunt Offense Arrest Retort. Page 6. D. RAPTOR. Rage Aggression Panic Torpor Olfactory Response. Page 7. E. Monster Annihilation Techniques. Page 11. And F. CPS Crystal Pulverization Spell. Page 12. Maps and diagrams. Diagram of the Wand of Aggression and picture of Bartholomew the Brave. Pages 1 and 11. War Map of Muni. Page 2. And Hekapoo's Diagram of Diplomacy. Page 14. Star vs. the Forces of Evil belongs to Daron Necfy, Disney Channel, and all other people associated with its creation. Please go support Star vs. the Forces of Evil and buy the Magic Book of Spells.